in a couple days. So if it works out, I'll send you the recipe.
Thanks.
Let's see. Oh, Gabby, what am I going to cook for you? Pretty brave to sample my cooking. I can make a mean fried chicken with rice and peas and gravy. I know I'm from the Bay Area, but I've got some pretty good Southern cooking going on. No one can pour a box of mac and cheese like I can, so maybe I'll make that for you, Gabby. Ooh, really good sushi. I've never been a big sushi person, but I love like tonkatsu. That's really good. Let's see. Ooh, pad thai. Yes, Brian Cuffney, always. Man, y'all are making me hungry. All right, so we have about 5 more minutes. Make sure everyone signs in, get paid. That's bit.ly/BDCT sign in. And then make sure you also open the slides, which I have linked there, as well as a spreadsheet. It's going to force a copy for you. Just make a copy because you're going to be playing around with that document on your own. Yes, Clayton, you know what's up. Tonkatsu all the way. Ooh. You know, Crystal, I can respect that. I can respect that. Okay, I'm just going to check. I'm just going to start recording right now. Oh, Tiana already started for me. Sweet. Present. Okay, just a couple more minutes, maybe 3 more minutes or so, and then we'll get started. Ooh, turkey and homemade stuffing. That sounds really good. Sounds very Thanksgiving-y. Is it November yet? Ooh, Martha. Whew. Beef bourguignon. I think I've only had the Julia Child recipe. My mom tried it once. Total disaster, and it still somehow tasted good. Ooh, paella. Yes. Martha, I think that you'll need to demonstrate for us modeling, right? So you can just bring in just a big dish full and we can all sample it. You know, it's the best way to learn. Ooh, enchiladas, margaritas. Yes, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Ooh, fondue, salmon. Yes. All right. Well, I'm just going to get started now, now that everyone's got all of us hungry. So just wanted to make sure everyone has signed in. If necessary, all 3 links can be found at the bottom of every single page. I recommend that you just either make a copy of the slides or bookmark them because you can be going back to them throughout. As for the spreadsheet, make sure that you've made a copy because we will be working on that actively together. All right. Hello, I'm Jillian Isir. I teach at El Sisal Middle School, and I wear a few hats. I also work for CORE, the Center for Oceanic Awareness Research and Education, and for Young Women in Science out of the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And the reason why I bring up these roles is specifically that I've used the system that we are going over today in all three of these roles, and we've seen them with great success, especially when it comes to distance learning. So I just want to show that it's applicable not just in a standard classroom in person, but it's also applicable in a lot of different areas. And I know it can be useful in any of your subjects. All right, norms. So please make sure that you are as present as possible. Of course, you know, it's 2020 COVID. We understand that things happen. If you need to get up and stretch your legs, that's fine. This is only a 1-hour session, but you know, that's understandable. Please mute your mic. If you have any questions, please use the chat for questions, comments, whatever you need. I'll try to respond to them as I go. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm staring at my iPad, getting those questions and comments. If I can't, I also have Tiana Mahandra on here, who is an expert, and she's happy to help answer how she can. And if neither of us can address them, I will happily email you at the end of the session. And then finally, explore and practice. This is a time for you to figure out how this system works, whether or not it would work for you. You can try it out. If you have any questions, you know, there's a lot of time for you to explore it. In this session, we are going to be working specifically with an interactive Google Sheet. It's similar to a HyperDoc, but I like it because it's a little more organized. It provides a good amount of structure. We will also practice creating all of the elements in our document. I find it really helpful because this kind of document is very clear and organized. It can be, for example, one document per unit, one tab per assignment. I've used this document specifically for science fair. Our whole team at Science 8 at ESMS used it, and we found it was very helpful. It's great for pacing specifically. If you have certain structure, you can flat out say, all right, we're doing tab 1 today, tab 2 tomorrow, tab 3 the next day. And it's really great for keeping yourself organized and on time. And then it also provides the teacher with an opportunity for really quick and easy feedback for students. So students can start to pick apart rubrics and start to analyze all the bits and pieces of a question that you're looking for and easily determine, oh, I missed this. Oh, I got this. These are the things I need to change. Here's an example of how the system has worked in ESMS. Over here, I have an animated GIF. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. Showing the science fair document that my team and I had worked on specifically. And as you can see, it's got multiple tabs. We've interacted with it, and all of our students were able to use it. What's special about this, it also has differentiated sentence frames linked to each tab. We'll have a chance to explore that today. And here's some data here's a graph showing 2 pieces of data. First and foremost, this is showing students ready to participate in the Monterey County Science Fair. And in 2016-17, we had 2 feel really confident, and then we had 7. When we first implemented this, that 7 more than doubled, shot up to 18. And in the second implementation with all of these changes that you'll be learning today, we found that there were 58 students ready to go. Now, unfortunately, they weren't able to because of COVID, but we still found that that worked. And then in terms of personal data, we have the percentage of students in my class only who completed the project from start to finish with no missing elements whatsoever. In 2016-17, we saw that 84% completed it 100%, nothing missing. In 2017 and 18, that went up to 87 after honing a little bit the practice itself. The first implementation, the first draft of this document, which shot up to 94. And this year, I had 99% complete the entire project from start to finish without dropping off. So we found that the system is really effective at keeping students organized, helping them pace. And then on top of it, especially when you're doing long-term activities, it really helps to keep it all organized in one location. and helps them to structure, or helps you to structure it for them as they go. So if you haven't already, please go to bit.ly/bdct sheet and make a copy of our document. We are going to be using it throughout the session. So let's get started. Today, we will be exploring the document element by element, as well as the resources to make them. So before we begin, here's some general tips that I find are really helpful. So first of all, color coding builds habits. So for example, in my science fair document, anywhere where I want students to write something, I make sure that box is yellow. Because at the very beginning, it's, oh, fill out the yellow box, fill out the yellow box. But towards the end, you don't even have to tell them exactly where to look to write a composition. I know that you can do things like, if you want it blue, you can put text in blue and they know to read and annotate the text. If you put a box in red, you can say, every time you see red, I want you to insert a Google drawing here. And that's really helpful. It starts to build the habits. And when they start to see the colors, they realize, oh, this is the task that's expected of me. And then visuals are key. So students should know which tools they will use. And if you have videos of how to use the tools, especially in distance learning, that's even better. So in terms of mine, what I've done is I've shown you what tools are necessary if that is viable for that element. And I also have a video for you. So if you get lost, you can always come back to these slides and watch a video, and it will show you step by step how it works. So what I will be doing is I'm going to show you each element. I'm going to give you a few minutes to play with each element, and then I'm going to show you how to create it. At the very end, you're going to have time to go through and create the elements step by step. I will be here on video. Ms. Mahendra will be here in the chat. And so we're happy to help as you troubleshoot and practice these skills. So the very first element that we have is response areas with easy formatting. And here's what that looks like. And this uses a few things. It uses the bucket tool for coloring. It uses the border tool for clear delineation of items. And it uses the text wrapping tool. So I'm going to go out of this presentation for a moment, and I am going to go to my spreadsheet. So in this spreadsheet, it's just response example. It's tab number 1 for you. And you can see that I have it with a bunch of prompts. I have a space specifically for you to write out your answer. So I want to give you about, let's say, 4 minutes max to just answer these questions. Answer them however you want. Take a look. There's no requirements. Just do me a favor, take 4 minutes and answer each of these questions. And you may begin now. You have about 1 more minute to finish up. Uh, John, it is not going to be graded, but you are being recorded for accountability purposes. No, just kidding. No, you were not being graded. Okay, so I'm just going to stop that now. It looks like a bunch of you have gotten the opportunity to fill things out. One thing I want you to notice here is in these boxes, if you were writing a significant amount, and I'm just showing you as an example, because of the rollover option, the text wrapping, it keeps it all constrained into that individual box. And so what I like about that is you have it very specifically tied directly to the question itself. And if necessary, the cell will expand, which means students can write as much as they want. Is just going to push down the remaining rows so everything stays together. Nothing gets separated from each other. So for that, what I want you to notice, and we will go back to it at the very end, but I want you to notice that the tools that we use specifically are the bucket tool, the border tool, and the text wrapping. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go over to my examples. So if everyone takes a look, there are tabs down here. So this was the response example. I'm going to go to the response practice, which is right here, tab number 7. And there are a series of instructions. So I'm going to show you how to do it. You don't have to do it along with me. Just pay very close attention. If there's something you miss and you're like, whoa, that was way too fast, if you look back at the slides right down here, I also have a video for you. So all you have to do is watch it, and it shows you step by step exactly how to do things. And you can watch it as many times as you need. So the instructions are to create 2 columns next to each other, one titled prompt, the other titled response, 3 clear questions, highlight the response boxes to a particular color so students know, quote, fill in all the green or yellow or blue, whatever it is you decide. And then in each of the boxes, you're going to click the text wrapping option. So I'm just going to start right here. Item number 1, 2 columns next to each other. So that's easy. I'm just choosing these 2. So at the top, I'm going to write prompt, and then I'm going to write response. I'm not going to actually come up with 3 questions because that's not really necessary for this example, but I'm going to write Q1, Q2, Q3. And I'm going to make sure that there's adequate area for response. So in this case, I'm going to go up here to the very top between cells C and D. I want to make sure that I have enough room for my students to respond. So I'm going to stretch this out a little further. And then I'm going to use some of those tools that I showed you. So I'm going to go up to my toolbar. First and foremost, I want to look for my borders. And I'm going to click all borders. And that's just going to put these boxes very clearly in between each item. Now I need to highlight the response boxes to a particular color so students know to fill in here. My favorite color for responses are yellow, so I'm going to go up here to our fill color, which is a little bucket. I'm going to go down here, I'm going to choose my favorite shade of yellow, and I'm going to leave it right there. Finally, I want to make sure that when my students write, it wraps around. So instead of something like this, where when they write, it bleeds off to the side. Oh, I had already put text wrapping. I make sure that I have this button, text wrapping. So in this case, if it's just straight like this, you're going to go up to your text wrapping button and you're going to click wrap. That will make sure that it wraps around completely. So that is the first element. It's very simplistic. It's great for any kind of student response. It works for any general document where you want students to be writing. So I will go to the next one because this one I really like. So student choice sentence frames. In our document, which was about 19 tabs and spanned an entire school year, we wanted to make sure that for every single question that we asked, we also provided a series of choices for students in their sentence frames. So this is the Mahandro method, which we really love. And it allows students to choose the sentence frames at their own comfort level. So we always have both a shape and a general color. So the color here is blue. For a well-rounded answer, we have a circle. We have thinking outside the box, which is in green. And then we have shine bright like a diamond, yes, like the Rihanna song, in yellow. And what's great about it is with encouragement, you can actually get students to try and push themselves to a higher language level. So in my class, I say, okay, 1 point of extra credit if you push yourself to thinking outside the box, and 2 points of extra credit if you push yourself to shine bright like a diamond. And it encourages them to use it, and it also gives you, the educator, an opportunity to check them and make sure the language use is right. So if you sit down and talk with them, you can say, well, I know that you wanted to use this sentence frame and you tried it. Here's what we need to fix so it actually makes sense. So it provides an opportunity for students to push themselves a little bit further each time. And it's also great because it assists all students. Instead of saying, oh, you're a student who needs help with your language construction, you should use these sentence frames. Everybody has access to it, which means everybody has the opportunity to push themselves a little bit further. Here are some examples right here of how it works in our document. But let me show you what it looks like in real life. So in our spreadsheet, I go to tab number 2, which is the frames example. Now you're going to take like 2 minutes to answer these questions. Where would you like to travel once it's safe to do so? And would you rather be at the beach or the mountains, or why? But what's going to help you is if you go here where it says click here to choose your sentence frames, it's going to open up a series of differentiated sentence frames for you. So all you'll do is click make a copy, because I want you to have your own version, because when you create this element, you are going to be making your own copy. So when it finally loads, here's the example of the sentence frames. In this case, the travel question, you have a series of sentence frames that you can choose from. The basic one that's a little more advanced, and one that's pushing them more. And the would you rather question in regards to the beach or the mountains. And in the same way, you can see that the language is getting generally more challenging, right? Now, the way that that works specifically happens in this link right here. And I want to show you how to link specifically, because when you create your own document, you're going to be linking your own slides. Now, I'm just going to click here and I'm going to remove the link so I can show you how to set it up. I don't know if you noticed, but when I opened it, it opened directly to the page that I wanted them to see. It didn't go to the title page. And the reason why is because I specifically linked it so it goes to this page. If you take a look, I'm going to go to our title page right here. Look at the URL. At the very end of the URL, it ends in id.p. But when I switch it to a different tab, to a different page, it goes id.g8c, etc. This right here is its own special code specifically for this page, which means that when I wanted to link directly to my sentence frames right here, I clicked the entire URL and I linked that there. In order to do that, I just make sure that I double click. I go to my 3 dots. I'm going to click the insert link button. And I'm going to click link. Choose your own sentence frames. Apply. Okay. It looks like you are having issues getting access to the sentence frames for some strange reason. It should be making a copy, but I'm going to go back and check while you take care of that. So everyone, please take a moment and fill out your sentence frames examples. Meanwhile, I'm going to go back, check you out. Custom sentence frames. Let's see what's going on with you. That's not what I clicked. Custom sentence frames. It looks like some people have access to the document. Everybody should have access, but I will do anyone with link, save, and I will copy and paste it. So if you were having issues, this should be fixed. Okay, so hopefully that works for everyone. So when you finally create your own, you will have this link for custom sentence frames. So if you went directly to the page, you may have to do file, make a copy. It looks like for some people, you were able to get your own copy, but if not, here you can do it. You just go file and then where you make a copy, and that'll be helpful for you. Now we're going to go back. You've had the opportunity to take a look at those sentence frames. I am going to organize here. Now we're going to actually create them. So in our example, everyone take a look at the tabs at the bottom. If you scroll to the very right, we are going to go to the frames practice. And so what we're going to do is we are going to take the responses that we eventually will make, and we are going to make our own sentence frames to put them in there. So that means that for this, we will be making our first box, our second box, an area to write, and then we are going to have a location where you are going to put your sentence frame specifically. Okay? Any questions at this time? No? Looks good. All right. Don't stress. You are not expected to create anything now. We're going to have time at the end to do so. Okay? I just want to show you these elements and then show you where you will have the opportunity to create them. So I'm going to keep on going. We are going to move on to the next element when it officially loads. Here's the video. If you find that after the fact, you're doing this after the session, you're like, I don't remember what she did, go ahead and watch this video. It shows you step by step how to make things exactly the way I will show you. Here's another one that I really like. It is the feedback rubric. So what I like about it is it allows students to know exactly how they're being graded for each item. And you can literally set it up for 1 point for each item that they're being graded on. And I'm going to show you how you can make it automatically score the numbers. So all you have to do is check the boxes if the element is there or if it's missing. This is really helpful. Students know that it's just for the teacher. Of course, you have to communicate that. But by the end of it, you no longer have a student going, teacher, why did I only get this score? Because they can look at the rubric itself and go, oh, I missed this part. This is what I need to fix. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in real life. So I'm going to my spreadsheet and I'm going to go to tab number 3, the rubric example. So in this case, what I did, I just have it copied over. So if you wrote something in tab 2, it's appearing right here. This is where we can see our rubric. So let's say in my example on where would you like to travel once it's safe to do so, they wrote in a complete sentence, but they didn't have proper punctuation. Maybe they dropped a period. They did capitalize where it was necessary, and their response did address the prompt. They didn't write about something absolutely unrelated. What you notice is that it starts to pull up scores at the bottom. I have it set out of 8 because there's 4 criteria and 4 criteria, 1 for each sentence. And it's tallying it up for me. Let's say for the second one, they didn't drop their punctuation and they got all 4 points. I, as a teacher, only had to read through it and say, yes, it's there, or no, it's not. But down here, it gives them the final score. In this case, the student can go, oh, I see what I missed. I didn't do the proper punctuation in sentence 1. And they can go back and fix it and show it to you. That way, you can show them how they can take ownership of the scores that they get. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to show you the special way to write it. Oh, here we go. So in the area at the bottom, I look at my tabs. At the very end, I'm going to my blue section where I'm working, and I'm going to go to the rubric itself. Now, I'm just going to show you how to create the rubric, but your job in the instructions will be to copy and paste the work you did from before. But I'm just going to show you how to create these items. So On one side, I always like to make an area for the title. So I'm going to write teacher rubric. In another side, this is where I'm going to put my checkboxes, and this is where I'm going to put my criteria. So I'm just going to identify a few different areas, a few different boxes, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click borders and all to make it very clear where I want it. And I'm going to stretch out the rubric. So here, let's say I have criteria 1, I have criteria 2, criteria 3. All I want to do, if I want to make sure that each one of these criteria has a box, I'm going to click, I'm going to expand, and then I'm going to highlight the area where I want the checkboxes themselves. So in this case, I want the box directly next to the criteria, so it's very clear. I'm going to go to Insert, I'm going to click Checkbox. Okay. Then at the bottom, I like to put everything, the score, out of however many pieces of criteria there were. So I'm going to say final score, space, a couple of them, is going to be out of 8 because there's 8 criterias. And then I'm going to put a special box specifically for their final score. So in this case, I'm just going to click outer borders. Maybe I want it to be nice and thick so they can see it. I'll put it in bright yellow so they absolutely know that's their final score. And then I'm going to enter this code here. So what this means is that whenever one of these boxes is checked, it's going to count it as, quote, true or yes. It's a presence absence kind of response. So to do that, I'm going to double click in the box that I have my score. I'm going to write equals count if parentheses. And then without clicking out, I'm going to go over to my checkboxes and I am going to select, just by clicking it, all of the area that I want to check. So if there's another checkbox outside of this, but I don't want that counted, as long as I don't have it highlighted, it won't be included in this score. I'm going to hit comma, true, and I'm going to do end parentheses. So right now it's 0 because there's nothing checked. But let's say they got criteria number 1. You can see how as you click all of these checkboxes, it's going to show you how many points they got. And that's going to be really easy for a teacher to give really quick feedback to students if you let them know, hey, you are being graded on punctuation or capitalization, or whether or not you cited your source correctly, or how you created your quotes. If you make sure that you have all those criteria very clearly defined in your rubric, then it's really easy to give this feedback to students. They can go, oh, that's what I missed. That's why I messed up. And it makes them easier to catch themselves in the future. So, pardon me, you will have the opportunity to experiment with that later. I'm going to move on to the next element. Let's see. I'm going to hit present. Once again, if you feel that that one went too fast, if you need another example, here is a video specifically showing you exactly how to make this step by step. And then here is one of my favorites. They're interactive Google Drawings, and it allows students to interact with content in different ways, usually by click and drag. You can have them create their own, or you can create it for them. So they're really great for things like Venn diagrams, card sorts, scales, engineering diagrams, storyboarding, timelines. Pretty much anything that you can do on paper, you can actually create with interactive Google Drawings. And on top of it, it really helps for distance learning because you no longer just have them sitting and reading. You can have them creating something. You can have them analyzing information using different graphic organizers, for example. So let's do something because I know I've been talking quite a bit. So at the bottom of our spreadsheet, let's go to tab number 4. And what I want you to do is I want you to click and drag these different items. So all you have to do is double click on the drawing and it's going to open it up for you. In this case, my instructions are use the line tool to connect each item with its spot on the line. So we're going to use a scale. In this case, I just have select line. Let's say I look at this, it says a scale of, oh my gosh, oh no, 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 right? The first thing is making small talk at the first virtual staff meeting of the school year. For me, that's not too bad. I don't have too much stress. Let's say that's, that's in the green area. So I'm just going to draw a line between those two items, and it's going to link it. Finally, returning to in-class teaching, but it's allergy season and everyone is sneezing and coughing. Maybe that's a different area on the line. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to click my line tool, and I'm going to connect it where it belongs. I'd like everyone to take a couple minutes and just interact with it. Do me a favor and place everything on your line. View. Yeah, so you can, Jane likely said you can do a screenshot if you don't want them copying and pasting. That's always an option for you. But generally, if you have it as a text document, any student can do file, make a copy, and make their own version, or they can just highlight the text directly and copy and paste. So if you're really concerned about the students like accidentally modifying it, obviously just keep it on view only. But if you're trying to avoid them just copying text instead of writing it out, I would say go with what Elise said and do a screen grab. Okay. So everyone should be pretty much set with their Google Drawings. If you feel like there wasn't enough time for you to really make sense of it all, you can take a look at the video. I'm going to show you how to make a Google Drawing pretty simply in this document. So what I'm going to do, this was item number 4, drawings example. In my spreadsheet, I'm going to scroll over to my drawings example. And I'm going to make an interactive Google Drawing in front of you guys. So it's actually very simple. We're just going to decide which type of interactive Google Drawing we're looking for the students to complete. In this case, I'm kind of feeling like making a Venn diagram today. All you have to do is click Insert and Drawing. If there's an error occurring, which we found that has been happening for some people, just hit refresh on the whole document and it's fixed it so far. You're going to use the shape tools to construct your design, and you're going to use the text tool to create items for students to move around the diagram. So to do this, we go to Insert. We're going to click Drawing. And wait for it to load. And it's going to come up with this drawing board. So if you see these checkers, that just means that they're going to be invisible behind it. So I want to make a Venn diagram. To do that, I'm going to go up here to my shapes, and I'm going to click the oval button. Now, oval just moves like this, right? It can be any size, but if I want it to be a perfect shape, I'm going to click Shift, and that's going to make it a perfect circle. I'm going to click it. Let's say that's the perfect size. I don't want it to be blue background. Let's say I want it to be transparent so I can see the other line. All I have to do is change around that fill color to whatever color I want it to be. I'm going to hit Control C because this is the perfect size, and I'm going to do Control V. Wait, there we go. To make sure I have one that's the exact same size. And I'm just going to move it over to the side with some overlap. Now, let's say I want my students to be sorting different items. What I can do is I can click Shape, right? Let's say I want them to sort, double click in the shape, item A. I want to make another one, Control C, Control V, so it's the same size. Let's say I want this one to be item B. And then I want one more. And I want it to be what they have in common. You can make it so they decide that they want item B to be moved here, or item A to be moved there, item B to be moved here, and what they have in common to be moved here. You can actually use these for things like card sorts. You can divide the entire board from one side to another and have them sort one item to one side or the other, depending on what the characteristics are. Let's say you want them to have pictures, right? You can do image. If you have a picture already uploaded on your computer, you can click upload. If you have the website, you can do that. Or if you just want to search, let's say I want to search Monterey Bay. It's got free, fair use for everything. Here's a pretty one. Oh, here's the map. I'm going to click select. Let's say the first item I want them to sort isn't item A. Let's say that item is Monterey Bay. I can stretch this out, make it a little longer, but I want that to be tied to this picture because let's say you have students who learn really well with visuals. All I have to do is click the title and I click control and I click the other item as well. And you see how the line wraps around both of them? You need to right click, or if you're using a Chromebook or a laptop, use 2 fingers when you click, and you're going to click group. Because from now on, whenever I want to move Monterey Bay, whoops, pardon me, whenever I want to move Monterey Bay, the picture goes with it. So if you group items together, like pictures and text, they'll stay together forever, okay? So that's an example of how to create a Venn diagram in this scenario. Finally, I just want to show you one last element which you can do, and it really is basically a more advanced version of your response area. And this has worked really well for science fair because it allowed our students to analyze sources, get everything that they needed for their CERs and Says Means Matters in a way that it keeps it all together. And then finally, they could take all this information and plug it into Citation Machine and create their own citations. So this is content organization for research and citing. If you go to your final document, right, and we go over to research example, this is what students get. Now, the yellow means that that's what they have to fill in. All they have to do is go to a resource, whether you want to link it or you want them to search it, and they have to type in, is the site .org.edu or .gov? What's the organization? How do you know this site is credible? What's the URL for it? And their job is to pull all this information and accumulate it in a way that will allow them to use it later. So we use this for Says Means Matters. We had the quote, no more than 2 sentences, so they had to analyze a resource and they had to find a quote that answers their guiding question. In this case, I think the guiding question was, what is the cause of your science fair problem? And they had to find a credible website, and they had to find no more than 2 sentences explaining the problem. Then they had to put that exact same quote into their own words. What that meant is when they finally did their analysis, they were able to have all of the elements they needed. They just needed to structure it in a certain way. So you will be given some time in tab 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 11 to start exploring. Now, if you find that you're struggling, once again, I put videos for every single item up here. On top of that, I am here, Miss Mahandro is here, Tiana's here, and we're both able to help you with any of your items. So with that said, let's say you have, let's say 15 minutes. Start exploring, start working on your interactive Google spreadsheet, and let us know if there's anything that you need. And that's it. Thank you, guys. You can begin working on tabs 7 through 11. Ooh, Nathaniel. So the question is, how did you get something from one tab to another tab? So I can show you on that. Everyone, if you are not curious about this, just ignore it. So let's take a look at, let's see, I think it was tab 2. So let's say someone wrote something in tab 2, but you noticed that the same thing appeared on tab 3. Here's the easy way to do it. I just click directly into the box, I hit equals, and then I went back to that first page and I click the box. So that means anytime something is written in one cell, you get it in the other. So if I wrote here and changed that, I wrote hello, what do you think is written in tab 3? is hello. So if you hit equal and then click whatever you want, whatever is written in that cell will appear in the new cell, however it is you want it. Crystal and Ingrid, yes, I know I had originally hoped for a 2-hour session, and I apologize, it got pushed to 1 somehow. But if you guys have any questions, please email me. I'm super happy to help with any of this. I'm happy to help you if you're drafting anything for this year, like I got your back. So reach out. I'm happy to share more, happy to talk to you one-on-one. How do I train students to use this? So that's a great question. I don't know how I'm gonna be doing that for distance learning. I've kind of been piecing it together for this year. It's really a lot of demonstration. So at the very beginning, I like to model the use of it as if I were a student. I like to show them how they can, click all the different elements, how to use it. And ultimately, by the end of the year, they've got it down pat. But in the same way you teach any skill or any resource, we do a lot of that demonstration at the very beginning. Yeah, I think what I'll probably end up doing for distance learning is before even introducing the document, I think I'm going to do a very general video, just walking them through maybe as an I do for how to interact with the document itself. And then as for each of the elements, since I'm not going to be able to be there in person to really guide them through it, I think every time I introduce a single new element, I'm also going to do a walkthrough using that think aloud language, especially if I were to, sorry, I just saw a comment and I lost my thought. To point out errors and areas to avoid, and how to decide which is the best sentence frame to use, for example. So that'll definitely be an interesting experience to do this over distance learning. Ingrid, do I pop into each student's slide to grade, or do they share back to you, or do you have them cut and paste in the classroom? So I actually uploaded this on the first day of school on like the first time we talked about science fair, and I just have it bookmarked in the science fair section. So I didn't re-upload anything. I just had one big document there. And then as we went to each step, I moved it just through, and I showed them, this is how we're going to work on this page today. This is how we're going to do this. And so because it's in Google Classroom, I just go to the assignment and I can just grade tab 1, click next, tab 1, click next, and it works really well. Matthew, thank you. Yes, I apologize that it's so rushed. Once again, I had hoped for a 2-hour session. What do you use to record your screen for your how-to videos? I love Screencastify. They're really good. I've used them for a few years. We have our students use them when we want them to record video presentations, and it's free. I do know they have a pro version that has editing, but I'm too cheap to pay for it. So, can I show you how to get stuff to show up on the next page one more time? Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click out because this brought up. So let's say on response number 1, right? You can see between tabs 2 and 3, they're both completely empty. On response number 1, where would you like to travel to once it's safe? I want to go back to Palau, okay? I'm going to go to the next tab, or actually, I can just do it in the same one. Let's say I want this to appear right here. All I have to do is hit the equal sign and just select the box that I want and click enter. So anytime someone writes something here, it's going to appear in that other box, if that makes sense to you. Can I send my directions on how I use Google and then grade from there? Can I send directions on how I use in Google? Yeah, so I will make that a to-do. I think in Google Classroom, yes. I can send directions on how to use in Google Classroom. I don't know if the Google Classroom is still open, but I can show you how it's set up. Oh, that is Miss Mahandros. Let's see. So I go to my classroom. Let's see. While this is loading, oh, sorry, I can't show you my Google Classroom because they took our classes. Yes, so for that, Ingrid, that's true. I can unarchive. So I might do that in a moment. Let's see, which question was I was asking? John, so one spreadsheet, it totally depends on what it is you're wanting and how you are planning on implementing it. So our spreadsheet, the one for science fair, I made 19 tabs and we spread that out throughout the entire year, doing roughly one tab a week to make sure that we were done in time for science fair. But I think the way that I was thinking of structuring it is maybe doing one entire spreadsheet per week because I have different ideas of how I want to do it in those 4 days when we interact with students. And I would do one tab per day with a different task. It's really easy to organize it. You can even just title the spreadsheet week 1, week 2, week 3. And in your Synergy gradebook, you could do week 1, tab 1, week 1, tab 2, and that can be really helpful for keeping organized and also allowing students to understand, oh, this is the one thing that I missed. I got to go to this week and I got to go to this tab and I need to fix it. So that's really up to you, however long you want to do it. I wouldn't recommend doing one giant one for every single day of the entire year. I feel like that could get really convoluted quickly. I'd say break it down when you do it first by a week. And then if you get more comfortable, do it for a certain unit for a topic or by month, if that stands out to you as effective. Let's see, let's go to Google Classroom. Let's see if I can unarchive and pull up. Okay, let's see, archived classes. All right. Okay, let's go to my period 2 from this last year. Okay. Oh, I didn't get to end my year. Okay, so if I go to Classroom, you can see that there are different topics, but I have one topic specifically for science fair. And I only had 3 things in there to make it really easy. I had the introduction, which is where I wanted them to watch a whole bunch of videos and be inspired and come up with something that they want to change and solve the world's problems. I have the template itself, and then I have their final report that allows them to put it all in writing so we could print it and put on their posters. So what I did was I uploaded the science fair template. You can see 5 formally turned it in, although these I returned if there was something I wanted to edit. You can click View Assignment, and you can see every single student's response. So this is a perfect example I like to show. So these are our ELD2 students. They are newcomers. They learned all of the content in English and Spanish, but we worked together to produce this in completely English. And so here's a perfect example. Our English language learners were able to complete this across the board. So all I did was I opened up each document, I went through, I saw that all the criteria was met, and I was able to enter that. That count function where I showed you that it gave you scores, I learned that after the fact, so it wasn't present in this year's document, which is kind of a bummer, but I'm excited to use it this next year. So all I had to do was go to the document itself in Google Classroom, and I could score it, I could give them grades, and go just tab by tab, seeing exactly what they wrote. They didn't have to click turn in, they didn't have to email me, they didn't have to send anything, and it was all right there. Um, let's see. Elise, how difficult is it for middle school students to learn how to add or change information in a cell after it's already been typed? You know, I don't know because we didn't actually we didn't have them edit anything like that. The reason why I copied it over for you was so you could see it and you didn't have to write more. I thought that that would be a nice thing, not making you write. But generally, we don't have it copy things over unless it's absolutely necessary, and then they don't have to go back and edit it. Marisol, where do we find the videos? So if you look, the slides are linked here, bit.ly/BDCT slides, and all the videos are on there as well. Janelle, thank you. Yes, we worked very hard. We're proud of everybody for all their hard work. Let's see, Shahida, are we going to do the science fair and distance learning this year? You know, that is a really great question. It brings up a lot of issues of equity, of access. You know, we talk about, we make things accessible, but really content, it sometimes only makes it available, not necessarily truly accessible. That's something that we really need to talk about with our team. The answer is I don't know whether we're doing science fair this year. I do want our students to be, to have the opportunity to explore solving problems. And so I've already talked about this a little bit with my team. I do want to explore human impact issues across the board and have them work on solutions using a similar document. But I don't think it's appropriate for me to say, I need you to build something, let's make a poster out of it, especially given some of the living circumstances of our students. Let's see, Jean, there were so many tabs and 510 points, just wondering how you graded. I didn't have mine set up specifically for it to go directly into Synergy and Google Classroom because I like my computer side by side. But we literally did 1 point per box. So our students did 510 tasks. And as you can see in the data that I showed, in terms of completion, I had 99, and it was actually a little more than that. It was like 99.47. Complete it 100% because we allowed them, you know, we said if there was an issue, go back and fix it as many times as you need to get 100% of those points. So it literally was, I had 510 boxes that I needed them to 100% complete, including labeling their diagrams, including collecting their data. So it was quite a bit. Matthew, yes, Google Science Fair is awesome. There's so many different resources out there, and the hope is to get our students involved in some way. My concern is less about competition and more about building that self-efficacy in terms of identifying a problem, constructing a solution, and actually doing something about it. So it's kind of up in the air. I look forward to talking with my Science 8 team at ESMS and figuring out what we can do to empower our kids to make this change. Let's see. So did I keep up in Synergy for each tab? Yes, every single tab was in Synergy. I think my team averaged a minimum like 40 assignments in our grade book. And then, you know, depending how we graded extra things, it was sometimes more. But yes, our rule is if you're gonna give students something to do, give them an opportunity to do it in a way that is effective for their learning and give them the grade. I don't know about you, but it was always my personal pet peeve when a teacher would assign me something and then do nothing with it. With that said, I'll stay on, and if you have any more questions, you know, let me know. I'm totally happy to help. Feel free to email me anytime. Truly, I am happy to help with any of your documents. You can send me something and be like, Jillian, you know, what about this? And I'll help. Send me an evaluation. Let me know what I did. Let me know how I can improve, because as teachers, we're all trying to get better. Um, and yeah, let me know. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Tiana, for being amazing and fielding questions. Yeah, Jean, it does need to be 2 hours. I'm sorry. I clicked the 2 hour button, but thank you all. Yes, Carrie, there is an evaluation. If you look on the page here, it says bit.ly/BDCT evaluation. Thank you all. Please reach out if you need anything.
Hello, Jillian.
Mm-hmm.
This is Jackie Ambrose from Hardin Middle School.
Hi.
This is chock full of information, and I'm so happy you kept reinforcing there is a video you took time to show us. And your voice, whatever's happening, your voice is constantly calm, and I so appreciate that. I think naturally I just speak in a more excitable way, but I love the abundance of information and the very explicit instructions you shared.
Oh,
And
thank you.
how to access it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. That means a lot because I admit I was a little stressed, but I'm glad that it worked for you guys.
Hey, Jillian, really quick. This is Nat Waddington from La Paz. I have a question, and hopefully it's a really easy one for you to answer. There was, in that Venn diagram that you built, you made it so and I just missed how, I forget how to do it. How do you make it so that you can see the lines from both of those circles?
Easy. Let me go.
Let's
see the drawings. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to delete this and show you because it's very simple. So insert drawings. I'm going to click my shape. Shapes. Circle. All right. And then shift. So I think the default is blue. And so if you do Control C and V, as you can see, they don't overlap, but if you make them transparent, so if you go up here to the fill color and click transparent on both of them, you can do that. And if you're like, I don't like that it's transparent because you'll see the lines in the background, what I usually do is I also add another shape at the very back. So I'll add like a white background or something, or, you know, here. And then all you have to do is right click or double click and you do order, send to back, and you have a nice white template. But so that way you can see the lines are overlapping.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too.
Jillian. It's Martha from Science High School, your beef bourguignon woman.
Hi.
Hi. I'm not completely inept at spreadsheets, but I'm having a little difficulty when we get to like putting the formula in to tally up the check boxes for like the sentences.
All right. So let me go back.
Did I miss that
rubric. Pardon?
I guess I'm trying to.
It's okay.
I'm getting a little frustrated.
Don't even stress. I
okay.
Got you. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to remove the code completely and we'll just start from scratch. So do you have your space specifically with all the checkboxes in it?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. And do you have the area where you want the score to appear?
Yes, I do.
Cool. So you're going to click in the box where you want it to appear. So you see how my yellow box is highlighted?
Yes.
So I'm going to type in equals. I'm going to write COUNTIF. I want them to count if it's highlighted.
Got it.
I'm going to do parentheses. And then I'm going to click my boxes. So I just click one and then I drag it. If you let go, it's going to move things, right?
Okay.
So just click once and drag.
Right.
And see how it highlighted? I'm going to hit comma and write the word true. So true is like yes. It's like a presence absence thing.
Right.
and then I click end parentheses, and that should appear. That works.
Okay.
I hope you're
Is
totally
that-
getting this because I'm completely lost.
Okay. So if I go to my toolbar and it has I gotta go to my thing. I'm looking at yours. I can't click on yours.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. The function,
Mm-hmm.
does that do it as well? Or is it, because it has a count one, but
Yeah. So you
not
can
as specific?
you can use the functions if you like to. I'll be real. I've been a coder for many years, and so for me, my brain just works better by writing things out.
Right.
I also feel that when people start to practice writing things out, writing out the code for something simple, it doesn't have to be an entire spreadsheet. It also helps them make more sense of the actions that are being made. So like when I click it, it's saying only count it if these ones have been clicked. They are true.
Okay.
So it makes sense. And that's kind of why I recommend it. But yes, you're more than welcome to use these functions. I know that there's so many. There's the count button, and that's great. And if you feel comfortable with it, please do.
Mhm.
But I do hope to kind of build capacity with all of our other teachers that they can look at a code and know what it means and feel confident just writing it too.
Okay, so what I didn't realize is that, but what was in the box on your slide was the actual language to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm there. Thank you so much.
Anything else I can help with?
No, good so far.
Awesome. Well, let me know if you need anything.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Elise Laplace. I have a follow-up question to my cell question. I was wondering, Tiana, you'd put in the chat, if you're still there, that you had slides or ways that you had taught kids. I was wondering if you'd be willing to share that. As English teacher, I was thinking of having them maybe gather their evidence on one tab and have it repopulate into a frame planning box on another sheet tab. But they may need to change things because they may not have written it properly. They're going to have to revise it. So I just wanted to know, I could just save this for brick and mortar when we're back to regular school so I can really be there to point and help, but I'm just nervous about having English learners, long-term English learners, understanding where to do that and have them. I just don't want them to be frustrated.
Yeah. So as someone who works with, LTELs and newcomers, I generally don't recommend having it just transfer over right away. Truly, the reason why I did that for you guys was so you just didn't have to rewrite it. It was easy to get to, unless you're wanting them to edit their own work. So for example, when I had you write that out using the sentence frames, and then you went to the next tab to check off whether those items were in the rubric itself, that's really great for students to self-grade. But the thing is that once they change it in that second box, it changes in the first box too. So that's really up to you in terms of getting that taken care of. There are certain settings where you can have them separate, but you would kind of have to explore that specifically. If you like, I'm happy to look into it a little bit more and send you an email about it. Does that work?
No, I really like it for the editing part, self-editing. I think that's great. But sometimes the other thing they get frustrated with is I already wrote this over here and I've got to write it again. And then they go back and forth and back and forth. So if it was pre-writing that was completed and that was edited on sheet 1, let's say, and then it just populated into the correct area of a framed paragraph planning sheet on sheet 6, let's say, it would already be done. So I'm worried about them. Even I forget sometimes, I can't write in the cell anymore. I have to go up to the top. So I was just trying to figure out how to have a lesson like that would be clear. I mean, I suppose I'm going to do a lesson just like that. Let's change it. And we're going to do it in real time. But it would be great if there were already some resources, if you'd already created them.
So let me show you what happens if you try and edit something that's been transferred over. So over here, let's say we did the code, we clicked equals to bring it over and we selected the box, right? And we go over here, if we change this and we write hi in its place, then ultimately it just erases it. It changes what it was before. It stays the same in the other tab. So that's where the issue is you can see it, But once you double click it, right? Oh, let me undo. Once you double click it, it doesn't show the individual words. It's like a shortcut. So that is a challenge that I do see if you're frustrated or your kids are frustrated.
So that's a different problem. I didn't even know what happened. Okay. Okay.
So that's the reason why is if you change it there, it changes what it was before. Because if you click and you write hi and you double click it, it just says hi, right? It took away the code.
Okay, so if I were to do something like this, to have it populate over into something that's closer, all that revision is going to need to be done on a different tab, a different sheet in a different cell.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Of course. And if you have any questions, send me an email. I'm happy to look into anything for you.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, I had a question. So, this was such a great example for the science fair. I was thinking, what are other ideas you can think of for the other disciplines that we teach?
Oh, absolutely. So one thing that I like is if you are interested in curating resources, like let's say you really want them to analyze a text, right? You can put the text in there and you can have these different questions and cells to allow them to respond to it. You can definitely have them create interactive Google drawings based on what they're reading or a video they just saw. It really, what I like is that this is not necessarily just a science document. All of these elements can be used in any section. You can always have them write a response in an organized way. You can always have them, you can always link differentiated sentence frames based on what you want them to write about. So do you want to give me an example? Is there, like what subject do you teach?
So I teach health.
Health.
Yes.
Perfect.
We definitely do a lot of reading and writing. And so this was such a great example. And I can see myself doing something very similar. But I was just curious what other ideas you had.
Well, for example, let's say you want to do a Google drawing where you have like a diagram of, I don't know, the cardiovascular system, right? So we go here, we click search, cardiovascular system. Oh, I forgot a D. So let's say you want to do that and you give them a blank one and then you want them to label things, right? So you can get text. And by doing that, let's say you want to click text box right here and you click heart and you're like, okay, well, where is it? Well, you can have them draw lines from the heart to where it is, or you can have them click and drag things depending on how you want it. So I definitely see, especially in terms of things like health, you can do that, especially if you're like wanting them to get up and move. You can have them record like a video and link it here of them getting up and doing jumping jacks for 20 minutes and then, I don't know, checking their heart rate. Like there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. I'm trying to think. Health. I feel like you can just do generally whatever you would do on paper in your health class in this. You can give them videos to watch and respond to. You can have them create their own diagrams. Let's say you want them to, you want them to create their own drawing of how the heart works. And so they come up here and instead of using any items, they can use the scribble tool. Like, oh, well, here is part of the heart. Here's the other valve, right? You can have them start making drawings. You can have them label things. Like there's a whole bunch of different ways you can have them do things depending on how you create it. I think it's kind of just up to your imagination. But if you like, if you have any ideas of what you would want, you're welcome to email me, and I'm happy to draft something for you so you can take a look at it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Actually, your examples are exactly what we do in class. So that was actually very, very helpful.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, like I said, my email's open. I'm happy to help with anything. So,
Jillian, can I add on something for that?
Yeah, totally. Go for it, Tiana.
This is Tiana here. I'm the one who was typing all this stuff. But our PE department uses something kind of similar to record like their colored shorts test. So the students record their mile time, their push-ups, their sit-ups, like all that stuff, and actually have it set that it will graph their data over time so they can see what they're improving in as well. So if you can always do something like that where they can create some type of like food log and how many calories they eat per day, and it will actually change depending, you know, if you have that graph set up.
That's awesome. Yeah, we actually do that. So thank you. These are such great ideas.
I'm glad. Well, if you need anything, you know where to find us. All right. Anyone have any other questions?
Wow, Jillian, I think you're free. My God, that was impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh my God, you are so good at this. Like, Jesus, I wish you had taught my lesson.
Oh God, well, I'm sure you were incredible.
No, I wasn't. It's your voice is you're slow because you're a coder. You were a coder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got it, girl.
Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot coming from you.
You got it dialed in completely. Yeah, I'm going to tell Rob. I'm going to get you to do all my lessons for me now.
Well, if you need anything, you know.
I will. Well, I'll be reaching out. Well, I'm going to grill Martha because she caught most of it. She's really good at Excel. I'm not. I'm useless.
No.
So
you know,
she'll help me.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit. You know, you got to be a fast learner to get that title. So.
Yeah, well, whatever. All right, Jillian. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
I'll be in touch. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. All right. Any other questions? Oh, Mark is here. Hi, Mark. All right. Well, I think if that's it, it looks like there's 7 people in the chat. I am 3 of them. All right. Well, if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to send me an email. Let me pull this up. And I am happy to help everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe. And I look forward to hearing from you.